Now to our final topic. Africa's digital ecosystem presents a unique and urgent opportunity to accelerate economic prosperity on the continent while expanding opportunities for foreign direct investment. With African youth anticipated to account for nearly half of the global youth population within the next decade, economists say it's essential that governments harness their capital sooner rather than later. Earlier, I was joined in the studio by Keye Oduneye, a communication and change consultant, for his insights on the matter. Keye Oduneye, it's a pleasure to have you in the Channels Business Global studio. You are a very wise man, so I'm so sorry to start with a pretty obvious question, but why do you think it's so important to unlock the potential through access to education, training and decent jobs for Africa's under 25 population, which is 60% of the continent?
60% and growing. First and foremost, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. First and foremost, I'll sound really old school on this. The youth are our future. And what that means in that sense is, if we don't create a foundation in which we're hoping to retire to, what is going to be left of our nation, first thing. But second thing, which is most important, is with this population comes opportunity, creativity, passion. And if, as a nation or as a people, we're not empowering these people, what starts to happen is, one, now that we're open to the global market, we get foreign investors being able to cater for them. Second thing, we've been in a position where we have people who create a whole economy away from the government. So in reality, one of the key things is that education, training and jobs very much builds a foundation, not just for them, but for us to be able to grow into and depend on, but most importantly, to have Nigeria that will exist way after us and our legacies, in all honesty.
Yeah, thank you for painting that picture there, because that's a very important point. You talked about the youth. We know that the digital revolution is ongoing. Some say Africa's passing through that at the moment. You only need to go on Instagram and you can see what they're consuming, things that we may not, be able to, like, but they certainly do like it. What kind of other opportunities is the digital economy providing?
Well, one of the great things is, when we look at the digital economy, what starts to happen is we have freedom. Freedom for these youths more than ever to almost exist without a government in mind. And why is that important? What's starting to happen now is that for so long, we've had Nigerians depend on the whole government sector and how things are run. We've had the private sector taking its own whole form. But now we have a new grassroots sector. And these sectors are the digital savvy individuals. The ones who are not just users, but actually creators and actually becoming influencers. And now they're in a better position where they don't need role models from Nigerians in front of them. They now have global role models. So they can do business with the global market without a government they need to depend on. And they can do business and interact from anywhere in the world, as long as they have the basics, the right equipment, and they're good to go.
You've mentioned twice now about, the youth kind of working away from the government. Are you not describing the private sector? Why are you, singling that out? Isn't that the heartbeat of the economy, the private sector?
So, okay. The thing with the private sector for so long is the private sector is somewhat structured. It has a control. We can put names to who and what is going on. But now with the type of setup or the right type of environment, unfortunately, the government or the seeds we've planted over the years have created in Nigeria, you now have a group of people, I would call them the grassroots ecosystem, of people who don't have names. They don't have company names. They don't have brands. They exist somewhere far, far away or somewhere right next door. But because of the help of tech, because of the help of content needed and interaction and creativity and cheap labor, in all honesty, what is going on now is that these individuals can now not be taxed. They can now not be found.
Wow. So
it's new income that is coming from different parts of the world, which India once used to be, and almost which China kind of still is, that Nigeria is becoming. And with that, and when it's not monitored, do they still fall under the private sector?
Yeah, that's a really insightful point there. We can't talk about Africa and youth without talking about a term that's been trending. I'm surprised it didn't list on the Google Trends for this year, Japa. Forgive me if I haven't pronounced that right. But you know, on the one hand, we do love our Nigerian brothers and sisters, our
yes.
Pan-African brothers and sisters,
Yes.
you know, coming into Britain. They contribute so much to the economy. I think that's a major point we need to mention. Most of them are not illegal migrants. You know, they're coming here to study. And, you know, they're taking up a lot of jobs in the UK that we need back home. Doctors. I read a report this week that the British government may be allowing teachers to come in. We want teachers to be able to earn more, but we need teachers in Africa. What is your whole perception or your analysis of the whole Japa argument?
Okay. So first and foremost, I've listened to so many debates. You have the people who are returning back home and say, you know what, it's not what's been promised. You have people who are saying that, you know what, it's better than where they're coming from. And I think, in all honesty, my take on it is that my latter point is where it focuses on. If you're in a country where you followed all the rules of the land, you've got the qualifications, you put in the work, you put in the effort, you're trying to do things the right way. I'm saying that because the right way now is changing day by day.
Goodness.
If you're not a politician or you're not in the entertainment industry, which is an industry created away from the government, let's remember that. Because now government are taking credit that Afrobeats is theirs, which it's not. But if you're not in those boxes, being a teacher is not given the credit it once used to have. So if you're in a position where you can create stability for your family, where having light and electricity is not a prayer or hoping that God will make a way, but it's a norm.
Social media, again, the digital economy, so much pressure, so much pressure. I was speaking to Kid Wire. That was a popular interview I conducted a couple of weeks ago. He's massive on social media, you know, millions of followers, a reality TV star. But people do like to emulate that lifestyle by fire, by force, by any means necessary. When we are talking about, you know, training up our youths, how important is financial inclusion? And I want to bring it closer to the diaspora now and talk about, you know, those in the UK. We see it, don't we, you know, going out, spending their money, buying all those clothes, but do they understand that they do need to save for the future? How do we teach them that?
Okay, first and foremost, we have the approach where everyone's living for now. And unfortunately, COVID has also brought that back home. You can do so much work and tomorrow's not promised. So there's that confusion. But then there's the reality of everything, which is, yes, tomorrow's not promised, but yet you need to be able to hope and plan for tomorrow.
Just a couple of days will be in 2023. What are you going to be up to? Tell us before you go.
2023, two key things. One of them, I'm turning my scope back into the continent, which is trying to focus on human capital development in talks with Sierra Leonean government, as well as with Nigerian government, working on a few things in the pipeline. And in the UK, I'm really focusing much more on my field, which is the personal and professional development, which is more the change management approach for businesses, individuals, and most important, sectors.
Well, if you don't charge too much, you might have a client in me. Thank you so much, Keye Odunaye, communication and change consultant. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom today.